Hi, my name is Skylar.
My name is Ella.
Hi, I'm Maya. I am a part of the production team of Battered, the film.
It is about domestic violence and just violence and of pretty much any kind against women. I specifically worked on the Tracey Thurman case, which dealt with physical domestic violence. I was also the choreographer for the project and on the production team as well.
I did the narration for the video, and I also did the research on Billie Jean King.
I worked on the script, I was a director, and I was a teammate. Woo team.
I think it's such an important thing because there are so many voices that still to this day go unheard. So many women are afraid to come forward, and I think it's important that we talk about it so that more people are comfortable with telling their stories and seeking help.
I think it's very important to talk about because a lot of the times women are too scared to speak up because they are afraid of being hurt for speaking up, and that should not be a thing. Women should be able to feel comfortable in their own homes without feeling threatened by outside people.
It's such an important thing to always constantly talk about because in a male-dominant world, as we can see it, women's voices seem to be stifled. And it seems like in certain cases where women are being abused, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's at home, whether it's being sexually assaulted, as we see in these 3 stories, it can be downplayed by whether it's law enforcement, by family, by friends, and it's something that needs to be talked about and something that we can't just push aside because these are very serious cases and very serious problems.
Great. Tracey Thurman in 1982 was a 22-year-old housewife with a young son, and she decided to flee her abusive husband, Buck Thurman. After fleeing him, he continually harassed her, threatened her. For 8 months, she put in a restraining order with the police, and in the final scene of violence between the two, Buck approached Tracey at her home in her backyard and proceeded to yell at her, and he ended up stabbing her 13 times in the face, shoulders, and neck. And all this time, Tracey had called the police. The police were there and they did nothing while he stabbed her. After they finally pulled Buck off of Tracey, Tracey was fighting for her life. Tracey ended up being hospitalized for 8 months and did survive, and she ended up suing the city of Torrington where she lived. She sued the police department and won because they failed to protect her. Her case now represents a large landmark in the United States for domestic violence against women.
Billie Jean King was a famous tennis player in the 70s and 80s, and she was a closeted lesbian, and she was a part of the infamous Battle of the Sexes, where she proved that women tennis players or women athletes are in general just as good as male athletes.
Recy Taylor was a beautiful African-American woman who came from a very hard background. She was born on a sharecropped family, and at the age of 17, her mother died and she had to raise her 6 siblings all by herself. So she was, very into crops. She's very into God and just life in general, and always had like this chip on her shoulder. And one day, after walking back home from a special church service that she didn't even have to attend, she took the same route that she does every Sunday. And this Sunday, 6 white men came from a vehicle. They were all armed, and they came up to her, held her at knife point, and told her to smile, and that if she told anyone that they were doing this, that they would kill her. They forced her into the vehicle where they drove her to a forest, and each man had their way with her, and blindfolded her and left her in the forest just to rot. But when she, was found, and when she got home, she refused to stay silent. She knew that she couldn't just stifle what just happened to her, and she knew that if she didn't speak out, that this would happen to multiple women all over the world. And so she joined forces with the Rosa Parks, and in doing so, they caused a tremendous uproar in the civil rights movement and in the women's rights movement all over the world.
It was so much fun. I had a lot of fun with my partners and getting to work with fellow students and their art mediums.
Very fun. As I said, I've never worked with like film and actors in film, so it was very cool to sort of to see that. Yeah.
That's fun! I love Skylar and I love Ella. They were amazing to work with. I think we had a lot of long meetings and a lot of long nights, and it was all worth it in the end. It was a fun project.
Yay.
I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Our first story is Billie Jean King. Billie Jean held the title of #1 women's tennis player for 5 years, from 1966 to 1974. In 1973, former tennis star Bobby Riggs, who claimed women's tennis players were inferior to male tennis players, thus began the battle of the sexes. Billie Jean was not only a tennis champion, but a women's rights activist, fighting for equal pay. Riggs constantly belittled women's tennis and its players, and when asked to play again, Billie Jean accepted the offer. On September 20th, 1973, Billie Jean and Riggs played. Billie Jean hit the ball again and again and again with ease. In the end, Billie Jean beat Riggs 6-4, 6-3, and 6-3. This tennis match is the most viewed tennis match with approximately 50 million viewers. For her brave fight towards women's equality, Billie Jean was elected into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1987, marking a pivotal place in women's history. Next, spotlight on Recy Taylor. On September 3rd, 1944, Recy Taylor's life would change forever. Recy Taylor was walking home from a special church service on a beautiful Sunday morning, the same route she took every Sunday. When a group of 6 white men, all armed, exited their vehicle and came towards her with hate in their eyes. They kidnapped her, held a knife to her neck, and told her to smile, and that if she told anyone about this, they would kill her. They forced her into the vehicle and drove her away to a forest, where they raped her. but Recy's refusal to stay silent provoked activism throughout the African American community. And with help from Rosa Parks, she sparked revolutionary change in the civil rights movement. Finally, Tracey Thurman. Tracey Thurman was a housewife who at the age of 22 decided to make the brave decision to leave her abusive husband, Charles, aka Buck Thurman. Tired of his abuse, Tracey fled the home with their then 22-month-old son, CJ, in the hopes of finding safety and peace. For 8 months, Buck had harassed, stalked, and threatened Tracey because she had left him. Buck stabbed Tracey 13 times in the face, shoulders, and neck. She survived and was hospitalized for 8 months. Tracey went on to sue the city of Torrington, in which she lived, because the police department failed to protect her. She won her case, and it became a landmark for domestic violence in the United States, and eventually helped change domestic violence laws as well as how the police now handle dangerous situations such as these. Tracey Thurman is now a pioneer for survivors of domestic violence.